This is the new Kia EV3, one of the most anticipated new electric vehicles to go on sale in the last few months, I think it's fair to say. It is of course the follow-up to the EV6 and also the EV9 in Kia's EV range of vehicles. There are two different battery options for this, the largest of which can get up to 600 kilometres on a single charge, which is very impressive in theory, but I'll put all that to the test later in this video. So is it one of the best compact electric SUVs that you can buy right now? Well, that's what I'm going to try and find out in this video. You can get your hands on one of these from about €36,500. That's for the standard range, with a range up to about 436 kilometres. There's also the long range, like this one. It has a range up to about 605 kilometres in its top form, and it retails for about €40,000. There are of course a few different trim levels. There's the Earth 2, the Earth 3, and the top of the range GT line, like this one. Can you guess how much this is? Well, this retails from a cool €47,000 with the long range battery. Now that's actually similar to a diesel Sportage in the GT line trim. Thought that was quite interesting. So would you have this or a diesel Sportage GT line? Leave a comment and let me know. It's very cool and quirky looking, and the GT line gets a little bit more of the gloss black detail. They all get the very cool Kia star map lighting signature, which you see in the likes of the EV9 as well, and the soon to arrive updated EV6. So it is a cool looking car. This colour is called Frost Blue. I actually really like it. Standard wheel size is 17-inch, and that's the wheel size you need to go for if you want the best range from this. GT line is on the 19-inch. Lots of gloss black on the GT line. Whereas if you go for, let's say, the Earth 2, the entry, that's all just plain cladding. Another design feature here is this hidden rear door handle. So it's often more practical to have them here, but I can see they were going for this sleek design. And this car, they have put a lot into the aerodynamics of it. So there's an active air flap at the front and a boat tail shape, so it's slightly narrower at the back to help the aerodynamics. More of that star map lighting here at the back, quite similar to the EV9, mini EV9 vibes with this new EV3. But does it have a rear wiper? Looks like it doesn't, but it's actually hidden up under here. Now, it's been quite mucky, the weather, the last few weeks, so I have been using it a lot, and it misses out on this bit here. So it's got quite a narrow sweep, but it's better than nothing. Let's check out practicality. It's 460 litres, which is really very good, and a few clever features. So it has the tonneau cover, but it also has a false floor. At the moment I have that in this position to create this flat sill. There's plenty of space for me, and underneath I've got the charging cables, but you can let that floor down and enjoy all the space. There's also a very small frunk space under the front bonnet as well, but I'm finding it easier just to pop the charging cables in under this at the moment. And I don't have to try and tie them up into a small bundle, so it's more convenient. You also get that powered tailgate on the GT line. Those doors open nice and wide, which makes it easier to get in and out, or if you have to fix child seats. Then once seated, nice bit of space back here. So it's built on a bespoke electric vehicle platform. You've got that flat floor, the width of the cabin. So even for somebody sitting in the middle, they still have space for their feet. Though I do think it will be more comfortable for two on the outer seats. It actually has the same wheelbase as the Sportage SUV, which is quite interesting. The fit and finish is okay. There are quite a lot of hard plastics in all these different places, but amenities are good. You have pockets in the back of the seats. There's hidden USB chargers here, which is great. There's vents, there's more storage space. This one is the GT line, so it even has heated rear seats, very impressive. You have an armrest with two cup holders. The hatch doesn't open through to the boot, but these rear seats do split fold 60/40. The cabin is quite modern and minimalist, so compared to the likes of the Nero EV, it's not quite as conventional in its design. It does have a lot of open space down here, for instance, where a traditional centerpiece would be. It does give it an airy feel, but there are quite a lot of hard plastics in the doors, those door handles. But this being the GT line, it has a little bit more fabric to break that up, and also some ambient lighting. Fabric seats come as standard. The Earth 3 and GT line get this synthetic leather and also this sliding table. And the idea of this is that when you stop to charge the car, you can take out your laptop and do a little bit of work. Maybe you just use it to have a cup of tea and a sandwich, whatever you like to do when you're charging your car, trying to while away some time. Being a Kia, the digital tech is really very impressive. Full digital driver display, a little panel here in the centre for your climate settings. It's nice to have it, and particularly if you're stopped in traffic, you can quickly adjust that. But there are physical buttons down here as well. You got that touchscreen. It works very well, very responsive. Apple CarPlay works seamlessly as well, time after time. There's also battery preconditioning here, so you can set that manually or automatically when you set a fast charge point as your destination. It's a very well equipped car, so even from entry you've got the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wireless smartphone charging. There's also heated front seats and a heated steering wheel. The Earth 3 has things like the ambient lighting and power adjustment for the driver's seat. The GT line, top of the range, so it comes with things like the sunroof, this special 3-spoke steering wheel, and also a head-up display. So altogether, I think it's very modern. I like all the digital tech on board, but there are quite a lot of hard plastics when you dig around a bit. So it's not the coziest cabin in my experience. This uses a 204 horsepower motor. That's sending power to the front wheels, and that's the same whether you go for the standard range or the long range battery. There's plenty of power in this car, so 0 to 100 in the GT line is 7.9 seconds. And a few different driving modes like normal, eco, sport, a customizable setting, and also a snow mode, which is very handy to have. Being a Kia, it's good on the old regen braking. You have paddles here behind the steering wheel, 3 different levels of that, and also a full 1-pedal driving where you can control the car using just the accelerator pedal essentially, and that's good for town and city driving. It's quite effortless. It's been tuned for European roads, and you can tell because it's very nice to drive, very relaxing. Good refinement levels, not too much road and wind noise. It also has multi-link rear suspension, quite a sophisticated suspension, so the ride quality is very good. The only times you really feel it or hear the suspension at work is in town over things like manhole covers or on very rutted, broken tarmac on rural roads, for instance. Otherwise, it's really very good, very compliant. When it comes to handling, you've got that low down weight with the battery, so it does feel very flat and balanced through bends, but there is a bit of lean, and when you are braking, for example coming up to a junction or a roundabout, it does take a bit of effort to stop this than what you might think, because there's a bit of weight involved in this, even for a reasonably sized SUV like the EV3. That brings me on to efficiency. So a heat pump, which is always a valuable bit of kit to have. It's only standard on the Earth 3 and the GT line. It's not on the very entry level model. Again, it kind of depends on how much driving you're going to be doing in this as well, how much efficiency you need to get from it and how far you need to get between each charge. When it comes to efficiency, so my average over about 700 kilometres of driving, fair bit of driving in mixed weather. So we have cold snap now. It was milder weather though, and my average is about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. Now if you do the maths on that from the 78 kilowatt hour usable battery, that's 390 kilometres. So it's not quite the headline figure of 585 kilometres for this GT line model. So I was a bit disappointed by that. Now the official consumption figure is 15.5. I did see that on a few shorter journeys where I didn't go over 80 kilometres per hour. So I think the efficiency does vary a bit with this, and there's factors involved as well, different factors. But yeah, not quite the headline figure, but then what EV actually does that all the same. And you do have your fast charging capability. So it's up to 135 kilowatt DC, so that's much better than what the Nero EV used to be able to do. And it's a 400 volt charging architecture, so it's not the 800 volt like EV6 and EV9. Again, they had to bring this to market at a certain price. I'm sure that's why that just wasn't possible. So your 10 to 80% charge with this long range version is 31 minutes or 29 minutes for the standard range. So it's good, isn't it? Really, it's industry standards. And you've got 11 kilowatt AC charging. And there's other bits like vehicle to grid and vehicle to load as well, with a special adapter that comes on the GT line as standard. So it's a very technologically advanced car. That is impressive. So that's all from the cabin of the new Kia EV3. You can read more over on changinglanes.ie, and I left a link in the description below the video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.